Hello, I'm JB, the TGN Assistant Content Manager. To celebrate the release of Bioshock Infinite, we are running a special competition where 3 lucky TGN users could win a copy of Bioshock Infinite on their platform of choice. You can find out how to enter and all the other details at our website, www.teengamersnetwork.com. Please remember to read the terms and conditions. Thank you and have a nice day.
I absolutely loved the 80s. Everything about that decade just seems so wild and fun to me. So it's no surprise that when I first got a glimpse at Hotline Miami, I was almost bursting with excitement. Developed by an indie developer in the form of Denaton Games, Hotline Miami is a retro arcade-like 2D action game that oozes style. But is that enough? Let's find out. The story in Hotline Miami is, well, I'm not sure what it is actually. You play as Jacket, a man plagued with visions of 3 masked figures which continuously discuss and debate your identity and your actions as you play through the game. You see, Jacket constantly gets answering messages on his phone in his apartment telling him to visit a location and complete a seemingly innocent sounding objective. When you arrive to these locations, you are confronted by mobsters and various other enemies, and you must viciously murder all of them to proceed. Are you a hitman or are you a psychopath? This is the big question that will rack your brain throughout Hotline Miami's short but sweet running time. In my opinion, the story in Hotline Miami is brilliant. Even once you are finished with the single player narrative, you will be constantly debating on who the masked figures are and whether or not Jacket is crazy. The story kind of reminds me of Pulp Fiction. It feels as if the story isn't played in chronological order to try to make players think about their actions and where it all fits. I love stories like this which can make you think and also keep you wanting more. It's intriguing, weird and supremely dark, and I completely love it. The visual aesthetic in Hotline Miami is its biggest selling point for me, as it's completely filled to the brim with 80s brilliance. Each top-down level is a marvel to look at. The game looks like a title that would have been released in the 80s, which adds to the 80s setting that they were going for. Everything just pops and levels are full of colour, not to mention all the blood and gore looks great and is spectacularly overzealous in its execution. Every single weapon is well defined and every single character model is just awesome to look at. The animations are flawless and really add to that nostalgic 80s retro feel. The game just looks flawless and oozes style. When it comes to arcade style games, you won't get a better looking title than Hotline Miami. Hotline Miami doesn't feature any voice actors because the game uses a Pokemon-style chat system where text and a picture of the character you're talking to comes across the screen. Because of this, I will only be covering the soundtrack and sound effect aspects of the audio selection. The soundtrack in Hotline Miami is perfect in every way. The music is a mixture of techno-sounding tracks and down-tempo psychedelic grooves. The tracks are just phenomenal, and even though you will die a million times in the game, the music will keep you going as it never gets boring or annoying at any part of your entire playthrough. Not only that, the sound effects are top-notch too. Let's just put it this way, when you blast an enemy at close range with a shotgun, your ears are going to feel it. Seriously, everything about Hotline Miami's audio selection shines with originality and unabashed love for the era it's representing. The gameplay in Hotline Miami is brutal and sadistic and will probably make you feel like you need a shower. You control Jacket's movements with the keyboard while simultaneously controlling Jacket's viewpoint with the mouse. The mouse is also used to attack enemies and pick up weapons, and you can also use the shift button to look further around your surroundings. At the start of every stage, you begin by having to choose a mask for Jacket to wear in his murderous crusade. These masks all have their own advantage to using them. For instance, the Tony the Tiger mask will enhance your melee abilities so enemies can be taken down in one hit, while the George the Giraffe mask will enable Jacket to look further when using the shift button. I like the way that the masks are implemented, as using a mask that fits your playstyle is key to being a level. Once you have picked your mask and you enter the location, you then realise how unrelentingly difficult Hotline Miami is. Each level tasks you with killing everyone in the building. The problem is that Jacket can die in just one hit from an enemy, so it takes a lot of trial and error in order to beat a level. Enemies are smart and very accurate with their attacks, so when you die, which you will a lot, you know that 9 times out of 10 it was because of your misstep and not because the game is just unfair. Hotline Miami is a lot like Super Meat Boy in this respect, as the game is extremely hard, but I guarantee that you'll never get frustrated or annoyed and quit the game because you know that you can do better and you'll keep trying again and again until you eventually do it correctly. The combat is violence at its peak. You can use your fists to knock out and execute downed enemies. You can use melee weapons such as baseball bats, pipes, and katana blades to kill your enemies in a more quick and colourful way. And finally, you can use firearms to blow your enemies away in quick succession. The only problem I have with the combat is that firearms are effectively useless until there is a small number of enemies left on the level, because using them just simply attracts too much attention. You're better off going the stealthy route and picking off enemies one by one than going Rambo on a floor full of enemies. Doors are also a big part of the game, as they can be used to knock down enemies and ready them for an execution. But beware, some tougher enemies that come in near the halfway mark of the game are not affected by this, and you will need guns to take them out. That's another thing that I found pretty disappointing in Hotline Miami. The amount of character models are very limited. That's not to say that they're so limited that they become annoying, but fighting the same mobsters over and over again can feel a little repetitious. That said, it's not a big deal and most people won't probably really care. Another aspect to Hotline Miami is the boss fights. Boss fights really feel old school, as most of them require you to take note of their attacks and learn their patterns to beat them. Trust me, some of the bosses are frustratingly hard, but once you get the hang of it and take the boss down, the sense of achievement is unparalleled. The only problem about the boss fights for me was that there weren't enough of them. These encounters were really fun, and the fact that there are only a few of them is extremely saddening to me. Replay value here is everlasting too. You see, at the end of every level you will get a score and a grade that you can then go back to when you like to beat. And trust me, you will, as all the score you earn can be used to gain access to new weaponry, meaning that you're always finding something new to play with, which is always awesome. Overall, I feel that Hotline Miami is the most fun I have had in any indie title ever made and in any arcade style game ever made. It's ferocious, full of gore and extensively rewarding, providing a unique experience that is as entertaining as it is violent and unforgiving. Hotline Miami is an unexpected hit for me. I loved every single second that I spent in 1980s Florida, and I guarantee you will too. The game has an intriguing and unique story, an unmatched graphical style, a soundtrack that you'll be buying on iTunes, and a gameplay that's both inexplicably hard and fun as hell at the same time. I couldn't think of a better way to spend £7. So for that, I'm going to give Hotline Miami a 9 out of 10. The reason why I dropped a point was because it's pretty short and the game can become a little repetitive, but trust me, don't let these factors hold you back. Buy this game and support an indie developer that clearly knows their stuff, because maybe, just maybe, we might get a sequel. Hey guys, if you liked the review, then subscribe to the channel and check out the TeamGamersNetwork.com, as we have a ton of gaming goodness waiting for you. Also, if you're interested, I have a Twitter and I post a lot of gaming updates, so be sure to follow me if you love gaming as much as I do. Bye guys.